Okay, now we are here, honey. Let's see if I can hear myself. Give me one moment. Let's see here. Uh, Child, I don't know how I had this set up at first. Okay, live. See, can I? Okay, I can hear myself. Yay. Okay, so am I sharing my screen? Let's go look at that. If I go somewhere else, can y'all see it? Okay. Okay, so no, you can't see it if I share my screen. Okay. This is kind of ridiculous here. Give me one moment and try to fix this. Okay, this is off here. Okay, here we go. All right, we got it. Then let's. I will just have to edit that out. Let's make sure we're here. Cause honey. All right, now we got it together, y'all. Lord have mercy. Okay, so welcome. This is Blackspin. I know y'all missed me. Hello. It's this girl I watch. Her name is Paris, and she says hello. I don't know why it makes me chuckle every time. It is annoying sometimes, but most of the time I just laugh. I think it's hilarious. But anyway, as you can see by the title, what we're coming on to discuss today is single parenthood, single motherism, and whose fault is it? And the reason why I had this idea to come on and talk about it is because I was looking at Themis and Thode. If you don't know who that is, let me show you because you can go subscribe. He has very lively panels. Here he is. So boom, y'all can see who I be looking at. Okay. So this is his channel here. This is Themis. He's a very well spoken young gentleman. Well, I don't know if he's young or not, but I call everybody young because you better call me young. Okay. 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 So anyway, he's very well spoken, and I kind of like his demeanor, and I like the fact that I don't know his sexuality, but in spite of that, he's still a man, and he understands manhood and stuff like that. So that's why I really do appreciate his content and his panels because he is, how can I say, he's looking at it from more than one perspective, if that makes sense. I put that he's looking at it from the male perspective, and he can also step outside of his masculinity and think like the rest of the people are thinking on his panel, whether they're man or female. So I think you should take a look at the channel. I think he has very good topics, and everybody on there is very eloquent, very well spoken for the most part. Anyway, so let's talk about this single motherism and the fact that it's always seems like they put the onus on the woman. And there was what prompted this. I was looking at this video here, and I want you guys to go and look at it because I want you to hear what this young man is saying. Well, he said he was 45, so he's not even a young man. As far as his thought process, he should actually be a little more advanced in his thought process. But to make a long story short, I'll put the pin the video in the comments so you guys can go watch the whole thing. But to make a long story short, he says that the onus is on the woman who decides to not abort a baby that a man didn't want. Now, I do agree with the consensus that both parties are responsible. Cut that down a little bit, baby. Both parties are responsible for participating in unprotected sex. Okay. However, when it comes to ejaculation, that is on the man. Now, they both knew the risk that they took. The man also should be more control of his sperm if he's in an agreement with a woman to have unprotected sex, and they like the way it feels. So just because a person agrees to not use a condom with you does not mean they're saying that you can ejaculate in me. And if you're in agreement, if two people are in agreement to have unprotected sex, mean without a condom. I know there are various ways of birth control. None of this stuff is 100%. You know what I mean? And a lot of women don't take birth control pills because of the hormonal imbalance that it causes within the endocrine system. A lot of these contraceptives, especially when they're oral, they all have a significant risk of health. You know what I mean? A lot of these women who are experiencing these infant mortalities, they have been on birth control from their early teenage years till they got later on in life and then quit and decide to procreate. A lot of people don't put that link in there, but the few people I knew that had infant mortality issues, they were all on certain birth controls orally, or the injection that's supposed to last quite a while. So there's a direct link between, and I'm still investigating. So right now I'm just speculating. I've seen it in a couple medical journals, but I haven't went through the sources of those articles yet. So bear with me. But they're linking oral and injected birth controls, and especially implanted birth controls, to infant mortality rates, especially in Black women. So when you're getting the little white thing clipped on your uterus, when you're getting the injected serum, when you're taking the oral pills, you're putting yourself at health risk. Now, a lot of women are aware of that, so they choose condoms as their main source of sexual protection. Now, when you like how unprotected sex feels, men like it, women like it. So with that being said, when you're in agreement to not use a condom, then at that point, there's some responsibility that needs to be taken. Now, I think that men and women take responsibility different. So for a woman, the way she takes responsibility for having unprotected sex is she'll either get an abortion, which, hey, now is not even an option depending on what state you're in, or she's gonna suck it up and have that child and take care of that child that she has as a direct result of the unprotected sex. So listen to what I'm saying. Now, a man's way of taking responsibility or negating responsibility for that child is saying, well, I didn't want a child anyway. You knew I didn't want a child. You knew I wasn't ready to be a parent. Number one, did I know that? Especially when it comes down to these unprotected sex or sex of opportunity, a lot of times those are one night stands anyway. So, but say a woman did know you didn't want to be a parent, but you guys still agreed. You as a man, you still agreed to have that unprotected sex, knowing you didn't want to be a father. Even if the young lady didn't know, you knew. So having unprotected sex was a bad idea on your part. Now she's owning up to her mistake. I don't want to call children mistakes, but she's owning up to the sexual act itself was the mistake. She's owning up to her lapse in judgment and saying, "Man, dang it, now I gotta have this baby." You know what I mean? And I'm gonna take care of this child. So for a man, he feels as though, and I've heard several arguments say that it's her fault. She decided to have that child knowing that I didn't want to be a father. Number one, a lot of people don't have those discussions. So, no, you don't know that you don't want to be a father. When I speak to other women that I know are single parents, they didn't know that the guy was going to quintessentially abandon them. A lot of these women get pregnant in relationships where the man is telling you what you want to hear so he can have sex with you the way he wants to have sex with you. And then when you get pregnant, oh my God, it's a surprise, it's a shock. But you want to do raw, you want to do anal, you want to do oral, you want to do all these sexual things. You have all these sexual proclivities. But then as a result of that sex, you have a child. As a result of those actions, you impregnate someone, you fertilize their womb, and now all of a sudden, oh, that's on you, ma. That's your bad, your fault. And yes, agreeing to have sex without protection is a mistake, is a lapse in judgment. But women, they decide to take up the mantle responsibility and say, you know what? I did what I did. I'm going to have this child. I'm going to take care of this child to the best of my ability. I'm going to work 2 jobs. I'm going to do what I have to do to take care of this child. A lot of teenage mothers, they are mothers. They are honor students. They are college students, all while being a mother. I know several women. I know this one girl. She had a child in junior high. And she did what she had to do. She had those children. She's not a high school dropout. She's a supervisor at the airport now, where she's been since she was at the age of 16. So women are taking responsibility for their actions. I had the action of unprotected sex. Now I have to raise this child. The problem is men are not taking responsibility for that same mistake. And especially in the Black community. They're like, I don't want no child support. I don't want to have to pay for no child. I don't want to put no money in on it. You decide to keep the baby, so you deal with it. But the responsible thing to do when 2 people engage in this and that and high risk sex and they have a child on accident, the responsible thing to do is to give birth and take care of that child. It's not to the first thing you want to do is run to an abortion. Or blame her for not getting an abortion, when actually abortions are unhealthy. And it depends on what doctor you go to. You remember that doctor in, I believe he was in Delaware, that was keeping the fetuses and trying to incubate them and was experimenting on these women, to unbeknownst to them, experimenting with their unborn fetus. Remember in Atlanta at CDC, they found all those unborn fetuses in the dumpster after they had got through experimenting on them. And then not to mention that some women can't handle an abortion mentally, and they always end up thinking about the child that they killed, and or they decrease their fertility because of that abortion. Sometimes these doctors don't know what they're doing, or they are very careless with the Black woman's womb in these clinics, to the point to where now they can't have children anymore because they decided to get that one abortion. So it's like, you want to blame mothers for being single mothers, but where in the middle of this is the male's responsibility or the man's responsibility? And a lot of times the reason why I say Black men, because this video is centered around my community. So that's why, And then with Roe v. versus Wade, where white people are stretching their hands out, if you could go down there, I did a video on birth rate and stuff like that a long time ago. I might put that in the comment section as well. Well, I said that eventually we're not going to be able to have abortions because white people are under minus birth rate. So they're not even keeping up with they're not giving life as fast as they're dying off. They're dying off 3 times as fast as they're procreating. So in order to preserve that, that's why we have Roe versus Wade overturned, or Roe v. Wade overturned, because they're trying to preserve their life. Because no matter what they're doing everything. They're taking white passing Hispanics and labeling them as strictly white, even though they're culturally Hispanic. But we all know that they're trying to blur that line of race because they know the difference. Even though we as people act like we don't know, we don't acknowledge the difference between race, ethnicity, nationality. The people who do the census and things like that, they know the difference. So they know, even with they handing in their Euro Spanish or their Euro Latina population, they're still at minus birth rate. So even with them pimping out their women to Black men because they're dumb enough to help them keep their lives going, but they complain about oppression, but they're instead of giving birth to the oppressors or impregnating the oppressors to make more little race soldiers. That was a joke, race soldiers. You know what I mean? So and that is failing also. So now they're like, look, y'all can't get no more abortions. I'm sorry, for at least the next 10, 20 years, y'all not going to be able to get no abortion. Of course, they'll turn Roe v. versus Wade back over, because you're going to have the elitist Jays and stuff like that start to complain, which I'm sure they already are doing. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Responsibility of this single mother. They say it's an epidemic, child. The manosphere said it's an epidemic of y'all. They not mess with y'all. It's like they don't want to sleep with a single mother, but they have no problem creating one. And I think that's crazy. How do you not take responsibility for your action? I'm like, for me, for example, right? This is not my life story, but I'm just using me because we all can see me. I'm right here with y'all. So me, for example, I engage in unprotected sex, right? This is me engaging. Let me get my paper clips out. Y'all know I like visual aids, honey. Uh-oh. 1 plus 1 equals 3. So I'm engaged in unprotected sex. I become with child. I don't want to do all this stuff that can degrade my health. Instead of taking the easy way out, I'm gonna buck up and say, man, this is my fault. I shouldn't have been having unprotected sex. We shouldn't have been having unprotected sex. Now we're gonna have a baby. I'll step up to the mantle of motherhood. Take care of my child. Do what I have to do for my child because it's not your fault that you're here. I had a lapse in judgment, so I'm going to step up and take care of you. Now, you, on the other hand, you feel like you should have a say so whether or not you participate in this child's life. When you had to say so to participate in unprotected sex, then you made a nonverbal agreement that whatever happens due to this sex, we're going to have to take care of it. Whether it be an STD or anything. STD, you got to go get the shot or take the amoxicillin or the penicillin or whatever it is you prescribe. Both of y'all are going to take that medicine because both of y'all engage in this high-risk sexual behavior. You know what I mean? But when it comes to a child, only one has to deal with this. That's crazy. And I don't think it makes any type of sense whatsoever. And I think that there's a lot of things going on in the Black community because of single motherhood. People, for example, don't understand that. Hold on, let me see. It's like you can't see me. A lot of things going on. So, what is going on here? Let me see. Let me exit. Okay, you should be able to see me again now. I don't know what happened there. Okay, so cool. So at the end of the day, I honestly feel as though um, no one is at fault per se because we have to understand what fault means. So, you know me, I'm good for looking up a definition, right? Fault. Okay, so an unattractive, hold on, let me put this down. I was trying to see if you could see me. An unattractive, unsatisfactory feature. This is like a person's character. Like you're like, let's see, what else? Fault. Maybe definition number 2. Responsibility for an accident or misfortune. Okay, so I guess fault is the correct term that we should be using. So whose responsibility for the accident or the misfortune is it? Who's at fault? You both are that participated in the unprotected sex. Now, what should we do about this fault? We should step up and raise this child because it's not this child's fault. It's not their fault. It's our fault. We did this. This is something that we have done. So now we have to step up as grown adults and take care of this. I know teenagers who are more responsible than adult Black men. And that's a damn shame. So that's my thought on that. I honestly feel as though women take more responsibility for their actions than men do. Men like to pass, especially in this community, they pass the buck and say, it's your fault. You had that baby. You deal with it. You know what I mean? Like as if you didn't put the baby in my womb. You were irresponsible with your ejaculation. With your ejaculation, and now we're stuck with a baby. We're stuck with a baby. No matter what you do, it's still your child as well. So I'm going to end that there because I want to come back because this is going to lead off into another topic. I think that maybe I could put both topics here. How long have we been going? 19 minutes. So I think that we have another 10 minutes. No, I'm going to do this separately. So that's what I have to say about that. This is Blaquespan, and I'm out. I love you guys very, very much, and I believe that we have to do better by our offspring and taking care of them and showing them love because it's not their fault. We saw the definition of fault. It's not their fault. It is ours and what we did. So we shouldn't have a choice whether or not we take care of our children or not. And what type of person are you if you feel like you do not have to take care of a child that you assisted in the creation? Because black women are doing that. If somebody gets us pregnant on accident, we're saying, man, we shouldn't have been having unprotected sex. I'm not fit to secure this child. I'm gonna go ahead and have it. You know what I mean? Especially when a lot of the times women aren't getting these abortions because the men that they're sleeping with cannot afford to assist them in that endeavor. Most of the women I know that got an abortion paid for that abortion on their own. So it's just sad. So, anywho, I'm Blackspan, and I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next video.